Hello from Portland. After a few days away, I'm resuming my videos for what I'm calling Marriage Month. Tomorrow, June 14th, is the 10th anniversary of my wedding. I loved our wedding. I loved planning it. I loved the day. The day was kind of a blur. We were at the end, frankly, so exhausted that we went to the hotel and watched Doctor Who, which in retrospect is a pretty nice way to start off your married life together. But as I've been remembering the wedding, the thing that really comes back to me is the music. Not so much the music that we played, but the process of trying to pick music, because it's a little tricky. Most love songs that are any good are kind of complicated. They involve some of the darker sides of love and relationships, and they have some edge to them, and they really don't seem to be as optimistic and upbeat as you want a song to be on your wedding day when you're supposed to be affirming this lifelong commitment to each other. On top of that, Chris and I have a lot of things in common, but we don't really share that many musical tastes. The Venn diagram of our musical tastes overlap on a very small region. We both like Cyndi Lauper, we both like a singer-songwriter named Matt Nathanson, we both like some 80s music and some dance music, and then it kind of abruptly stops. I noticed actually that picking songs was somewhat easier for Chris because I tend to focus way too much on the lyrics of a song. And so if there's some lyrics that are kind of ambiguous or negative, I would throw the song out. Whereas Chris focuses much more on kind of the tempo and feeling and music of a song. So he picks songs that are really great songs like I Will Survive and Love Will Tear Us Apart, which I love, but are totally inappropriate for a wedding. But we played them anyway, and they seemed to work. Then we had to pick a song to play while we walked in to the ceremony, and we settled on a song called Under Your Spell, which is from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer musical. That was a show that I was a big fan of before I met Chris. I kind of got him into it, and we'd watch it together, and we both really liked it. And then they did the musical episode that Chris just fell in love with. And he's not even that big a fan of musicals in general, but we both really, really loved the musical, watched it over and over again. One time a group in Dallas did like a sing-along of the musical before they got shut down by Warner Brothers lawyers, and we went to that. So it was something we shared. And the song Under Your Spell is actually a love song between two lesbian characters in the show who did not ultimately have a happy ending, but it was a really nice moment for them, and it's a really beautiful song. So we had a local string quartet do an arrangement of it, so they played it on strings as we came in. And my number one top regret of my wedding was that we walked in too fast because we had this beautiful arrangement and it was so meaningful and it was so great, and it was over like that. Like we walked in and just, okay, let's start the ceremony. And I really, if I had it to do over again, I would have us start further back or trip Chris halfway through or something to where we got to hear more of that beautiful song. But, you know, if that's your biggest regret of your wedding, I think you're doing pretty well. One of the highlights of the ceremony for me was that my brothers, who are both very, very accomplished singers, wanted to do a song together. And we had kind of a hard time picking an appropriate song. And then, of all things, my straight brother, who turns out to be a much bigger musical theater fan than either I am or my gay brother is, came up with the perfect song, which is called You Walk With Me, which is a love song between two men from the musical The Full Monty. You know, the universe of love songs designed to be sung about two men is very, very small. So it was very nice that my straight brother was able to come up with that perfect choice. And they sang it really beautifully. And like I said, it was just one of the high points for me. My second biggest regret from my wedding day is that we didn't videotape it, because I would love to have that on videotape and be able to go back and look at it. At the time, it just seemed kind of crass to videotape, and I didn't want people worrying about the camera. And obviously, if I had it to do over again, and if Oregon voters vote the way I hope they will next year, I will have it to do over again. You can bet we're going to videotape it, and I'll put the whole thing on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.